Well, hello, new families to Hickory Christian Academy. Just so glad to see you. So glad that you're able to join us in this orientation. I know that it's a little unusual. Normally, we would have a packed auditorium or gym full of people, but obviously this year we can't do that. So we're grateful for the technology to be able to do this and to share with you and help prepare you for the upcoming school year. I'm Tracy Robinson. In case we haven't met, I think I've met most of you or probably all of you through the interview process. And we've really enjoyed getting to know you. And we're just excited that God's led you to join us this year. So I'm going to show you just a few things about the upcoming school year, particularly the morning drop off and the afternoon pickup routines. What's going to be involved with that? I know that doesn't seem like a big deal, but logistically is one of the harder things that we do. And as far as safety, it's one of the more dangerous things we do, as we have hundreds of cars coming through the parking lot, along with people walking all over and crossing at crosswalks and things like that. So we certainly want to do this well. We want to do it efficiently and safely. We also want to be good neighbors in our community here with the people that live near the school, just to not frustrate them with traffic lines and things like that. So we're really trying to work this through in a way that can be done with excellence, that can be done efficiently and safely. And so I'm excited to share that plan with you. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our school verse and some other things that will pertain to the upcoming school year. So let me begin with sharing a screen with you. And so here's our drop-off and pickup procedures for this school year. They're going to be very similar to what they've been in the past. But again, I know that I'm talking with new people who probably haven't seen this before. And so I'm just going to go through some of the details, and then I'm going to show you a diagram of exactly how this is going to work. So morning drop-off, the first thing that you need to know is that drop-off begins at 7:40. It ends at 8 o'clock. We're asking that you not drop off your child before 7:40. We do want to give our teachers a fair shot at getting settled each day to get their classroom prepared for the students to come in. And so prior to 7:40, that's just going to be it's going to be difficult for them to get all that done. So students should be dropped off no earlier than 7:40. There have been people in the past who have tried to drop off before that with the intent of maybe beating the car line or having some other reason. But just to know that if you drop off before 7:40, your child won't be allowed in the building, and they will be outside in the parking lot until 7:40. So we don't think that's the best move and very safe. So we're asking you not to drop off before then. 5th through 8th grade students will be dropped off in the middle school building across from the main building. I'll show you in the diagram here in a minute how that works, but they will have their own drop-off location. All other students from pre-K through 12th grade will be dropped off at the main building. And then again, we just ask that you be very alert and aware as you navigate the parking lot. As many people are going to be walking and using the crosswalks and things like that, just for safety. And we especially ask that you not use cell phones during the morning drop-off times. In the mornings, it goes pretty quickly. I would say once the routine is underway, you're going to be 3 or 4 minutes from the time that you exit the road to the time you get back on the road. And so that shouldn't be that big a deal as far as waiting to use cell phones. In the afternoons, it's going to take longer, but we're still going to ask that cell phones not be used while cars are in motion. On the first 2 days of school, typically we allow parents to walk in with their younger kids or with new students in the school. And this year, obviously, there's some differences. We're trying to have routines where adults are very limited with time being in the building, as adults tend to be more risky as far as carrying COVID than younger kids would be. And so wisdom would tell us that we want to limit the amount of time that our parents are going to be in the building if it's not necessary. But we do realize that the dropping off of students, young kids at school, kindergarten, even earlier than that, is somewhat of a rite of passage. There is a comfort zone for the child and the parent that we want to be aware of. And so we're trying to work on a plan where this can still happen to some extent. So for those of you that I'm talking to right now, you're new to the school. We realize that that's a little bit of a nerve-wracking thing in itself, just going to a brand new place. So what we're going to try and do is establish a routine where a few people at a time could go in with their child, drop them off, and then when they come out, some more could go in. Try not to have everybody in at once to thin out the line a little bit that's on the inside of the building. We will require that you wear a mask, and we will require that you have a temperature check to do that. For those of you that are dropping off preschool or pre-K, transitional kindergarten, or Mrs. Hart's kindergarten class, those of you, that group will be entering the door at the very end of the building near the playground. Now, this is only for the first 2 days of school. After that, they'll be entering the door that's further up. The students will on their own. But while the parents are doing this and we're trying to mitigate and keep people separate, those that are in those 3 classrooms will enter that end door, and there'll be someone there who will check you for temperature as you go in and count the number of people. For those of you that have Mrs. Cutler or Mrs. Gordon for kindergarten, or those of you that have other grammar school kids and you just feel a need to walk in with them on the first day, that'll be in the upper end of the grammar building and in the door that's kind of in the center of the main building. And so also there'll be somebody there helping you get in and out and doing that a few at a time. And hopefully what that'll do is it'll split the group in half. And also, like I said, a few at a time will go in, and we'll be able to do this in a safe manner, but also in a manner that allows you to make eye contact with a teacher, give a thumbs up that your new child is feeling comfortable, and then you can drop them off and move on with your day. We did ask in the emails earlier this year or this summer on a few occasions, but I realized some of you have just joined the school in the last few days. So a few things that we need every student to bring with them on the first day of school: a personal mask, which I assume everyone has by this point, hand sanitizer, a little bottle of that, and those are a little easier to find now than they have been. Hopefully you can find that. And then disinfecting wipes, and I realize those are very difficult to find these days. We have been able to buy some on Amazon and have them shipped in. If you can't find some by the first day of school, that's okay. But at some point, please buy a container of disinfecting wipes. That'll just really help us out as we're going through this routine of extra disinfecting. And we have some of our own, obviously, but it would be a big blessing if everyone could help us out with that. For afternoon pickup, things are a little bit different because the line gets backed up. It's a much slower process. It's pretty quick for a car to pull up and someone jump out and go into the school. But when an empty car pulls up and we're finding the person to go in there, it just takes longer. And so some reminders for afternoon pickup and how this is going to work. If you have a pre-K, a transitional kindergarten, or a kindergarten student, you're going to pick them up between 12 and 12:15 each day. Teachers are going to be outside to place the kids in the car, so you're not going to get out of the car. You'll just pull up, we'll find your child, and we'll put them in the right car for you. If you have 1st through 8th grade children, you're going to begin pickup at 2:45. And so we're going to split that into 2 groups to help mitigate traffic. So if your child's last name is A through L, then we're asking that you be in the traffic line no later than 2:45. So when you get here, the line's already going to be formed. You're going to have to wait a little bit before it starts, but at least you'll be in the front half of the line, and that'll help us divide this out in an effective way. If your last name is M through Z, then we want you to not arrive in the traffic line until at least 2:50. You have until 3:10 to pick up your child, and if you want to come even later than that, the line should be thinned out and you wouldn't have to wait as long. But if you want to come on the earlier side, no earlier than 2:50, and by then the traffic line will have been in motion for about 5 minutes and thinned out a little bit, just to help us not clog up the main road. If you have a high schooler, regardless of their last name, you're going to pick them up no earlier than 2:50. High schoolers get out of class a little bit later than the younger kids do, And so if you have a high schooler, even if you have younger kids, and regardless of last name, don't show up for the traffic line until 2:50, and that'll help us out. Due to COVID-19, we are asking that parents use the car line and not walk up to the school to get their kids. If you'll stay in your car, allow us to find your child and put them in. This is just going to really help us with the health mitigations that we have to do, and just the efficiency of this process, and to keep everybody safe throughout. We still ask that you not use your cell phones during this time. And like I said, afternoon traffic takes longer than the morning traffic, but we're still asking that you hold off on cell phone calls until you're completely out of the school parking lot. And then finally, if you would display your child's name on an 8.5 by 11, so just a normal sheet of paper, copy paper, something like that, or a piece of cardboard, or anything that you can post in the driver's side window as you pass by the ladies who are calling the names of the students, that would just really help us with the process. It'll speed up things and help us find your child so that they're there waiting on you when you pull up. So now I'm going to share with you an overview of the school parking lot. So here it is, and we are going to visually go through the direction that you're going to drive as you pull in. So as you come down 29th Avenue, you're going to turn, most of you will turn right, some might turn left. And then when you get to this first place where you can turn right in the parking lot, we're asking that you take that, and that you continue all the way around the edge of the outer edge of the parking lot, using as much real estate as we can before entering into this middle part of the parking lot. And what that's doing is it's pulling as many cars as possible off of the main road and just increasing the safety for everybody up there, as well as the frustration levels are being lowered for the neighbors. Once we get to the crosswalk, you're going to notice that the line starts to split into two. So if you have 5th through 8th graders, at this point, you're going to pull to the right, and you'll see people here waiting on you, and you're going to stop about right there. The people are going to help your child get out of the car. They'll go straight to this sidewalk, across this crosswalk, and then into the middle school building right here. If your only children are in 5th through 8th and you don't have any in the main building, there will be people now that will allow you to cross over through this middle part and then back out to the main road. But if you do have other kids that are going to be dropped off in the other building, or if you don't have 5th or 8th graders at all, then you're going to continue straight ahead using the entire gravel parking lot. And there'll be cars here in the middle, so you'll go around them, back out this way, and then crossing back into the asphalt. Once you get here, you're going to edge over to the right and stay within this fire lane to drop off your kids. And you'll see, again, adults standing here on the sidewalk will help you get your child out of the car. They can get into the building safely, and then you'll be able to pull out. When you drop off and your child is safely up on the parking lot, you're going to edge to the left and then head back out of the parking lot the same way that you came in. And again, here, most of you will go to the left, some might go to the right, and then you'll be done. For those of you who, on the first 2 days of school, feel better about walking in with your child, this middle part of the parking lot, let me grab my pen again. This middle part of the parking lot up here is where you're going to park. And this is where normally our high school students are going to park, but we've delayed their start for a couple of days, largely for this reason, so that you would have ample parking here. Then you're going to walk with your child from that parking lot across this walkway and then down the sidewalk, and then all the way to the end of the building. If you're a pre-K, TK, or Mrs. Hart's kindergarten, you're coming to the door all the way down here. If you are in the other kindergarten classes or in 4th grade, you're going to come to the door that's right here. So there are 2 doors to the grammar school. Mrs. Hart, Mrs. Runyon, and Mrs. Bolch's class will be down here. There's a dividing wall inside the building about here. And so that's going to keep us in 2 separate groups. And again, just to keep some distancing between everybody to meet the COVID standards that we have before us. At these points, you'll have somebody check your temperature, and you'll be able to go in small groups at a time to help drop off your kid and get them settled before you go. This is almost exclusively on the first 2 days. So on that Thursday, the 20th, and Friday, the 21st, you'll have the opportunity to do this. After that, we're asking that you make attempts to drop off your child and let us help them get in to their classroom. There will be some, especially the youngest, there'll be some who need a few more days than that. And on an individual basis, we'll work with you. But as much as we can, we want to be able to do this in the first 2 days. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me go back to just talking to you a little bit about the spiritual emphasis of the school. And I want to share with you our school verse. Our school verse for this year is Psalm 46:10, which says, "Cease striving and know that I am God. I will be exalted, sorry. Cease striving and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth." And it's just critical for us as we go through these weird times of COVID-19 and everybody's a little out of sorts and everybody's just a little on edge. God tells us to cease striving. God commands us not to be warriors. And it's important for us to listen to that. I know that it's hard to just turn that on and off. But if we're convinced that the second part of that scripture is true, that God is going to be exalted in the nations and God's going to be exalted in the earth, meaning that he's in control, that he's omnipotent and that he's all powerful. He's got this under his umbrella. If we truly trust in that, then the worrying part should naturally fade away. When the worrying increases, it's typically because we stop trusting that God is who he says he is. And so God's telling us to cease striving, to lay it down, to have peace in the fact that we are children of the King and that we can rely on him. And so as we go through just the odd times of COVID-19 and all things are changing, it's important for you to know that God hasn't changed, that HCA's core pillars of biblical worldview, of Jesus being the savior of the world and the solution to the sin problem that our world is in, and also classical education, where we're forming the mind and where we're training kids to be thinkers and to be difference makers in their community now and in the future. Those things haven't changed. We're still true to the commitment that we have on that. We're still true to the mission and vision, and we're excited to share that with you. So as you interact with some of the other administrative staff through these videos, I hope you find them enjoyable. I hope you get the answers that you need. And I also want you to know that if you still have questions, we are happy to help you. We would love for you to email us. That's probably the most efficient these days. My email is trobinson@hickorychristian.com, trobinson@hickorychristian.com. And everyone's email here, every employee is first initial, last name @hickorychristian.com. And so hopefully that's easy to remember. You can email me. You can ask any questions you need. We'll do our best to get back with you in a quick and efficient manner. We want to make this transition as comfortable and as enjoyable and peaceful as it can be. So again, we're grateful you're here. We're excited that you're joining us for this school year, and we pray that God blesses you and know that we're praying for you. Have a great day.